Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sterling High School for some boys lacrosse on the turf here tonight after the girls picked up a victory against Morristown Friends. It's your Sterling Silver Knights taking on Highland Regional High School. I'm joined here with Dan Leakin. Going to get into a little bit of the pregame show. Dan, fill us in on Highland from last year.
Well, Highland last year was 13-4 with a 7-1 record in the SJILL National. The juniors, Matt Tuttle and Dante Nasola, led the team in points last year. Matt had 49 goals, 20 assists, and 69 points, while Dante followed with 28 goals, 27 assists, and 55 points. Matt Tuttle is also the lead faceoff man who had a .5 win percentage last year.
And on the other side for Sterling, last year they finished at 8-7. They were 0-5 in the SJILL American. Junior Jake Spiritoso led the way with 53 points on the year, 44 goals and 9 assists. Junior Andrew Peak followed behind him with 28 points. Frank Hartman was the starting goaltender last year, who had a total of 211 saves. He's now graduated, so it'll be interesting to see here today how Josh Hoffman fills into his shoes. And this year they are 2-0 with wins against Gloucester Catholic and Triton. And Jake Spiritoso is a Westminster commit, leading the team with 14 points. He's 8 goals and 6 assists. Tied with him in points is freshman Carson Wiley, who's the son of head coach Clint Wiley. He has an even 7 goals and 7 assists on the year. Right behind them is junior Max Bleem and freshman Jeremy Clark, my younger brother, with 7 apiece. And the starting goaltender is Josh Hoffman, who we mentioned earlier. So should be a good one on hand as the captains meet at the center. We have a face-off mix between Jeremy Clark and junior Ryan Cullen. And last game, Carson Wiley led the way with 5 goals, 3 assists, 8 total points. Jake Spiritoso had 4 goals in the win. Jeremy Clark and Max Bleem tallied 3 goals as well. And Jake Spiritoso has recently eclipsed 200 total high school career points. Sterling's 4-0.
Sterling being 4-0 against Highland in their game history specifically. This year, Highland is 1-2 overall and 1-0 in the SJILL National. And again, now the seniors, Matt Tuttle and Dante Nasola, have led the way. Matt Tuttle leading the team in points, goals, and assists with 13 points, 8 goals, and 5 assists. And the senior attack, Dante Nasola, is second in points with 10. He also has 6 goals and 4 assists. They have a freshman goaltender now, Gavin Grenice, who's done a pretty exceptional job so far in the pipes. In their 12-6 win against Triton, Matt Tuttle had 5 goals and an assist in the win, and midfield senior Evan Keefe also tallied 3 in the win. So these two teams have had a comparable opponent in Triton, Sterling having a little bit more of a dominating win, but Highland also winning pretty handedly as well.
And another thing that I want to mention here, Dan, is that both teams were in a different division last year, now in another division where Sterling has started in this division, and they had a lot of success in that past division that they're now back in for this season. The only team they've really had problems with in the past 2 years before last year was Woodstown. So we should be on hand for a good game here today. Looks like Rene Camacho will take the face-off against Highland's Matt Tuttle.
Matt Tuttle, definitely the player to watch out for Highland, one of their flashy goal scorers, but also dominates in the face-off circle as well. As I mentioned last year, at a .5 win percentage when going against someone in the face-off circle. So it'll be interesting to see how Camacho sizes up against them.
So we're about set to get underway. Beautiful day for lacrosse with slight breeze, but not too bad. And face-off, we are underway here on the turf at Sterling High School.
And you know, Jake, I mentioned earlier in the other game that it wasn't really so shiny and windy. There was a lot of rain going on, but with rain brings nice sunshine, and that's what we're experiencing right now.
Highland to start with possession. Working at the top, makes a man miss. There's a shot and a goal, so Evan Keefe on the board for Highland.
An early goal for Highland. Evan Keefe, who had 3 in the win against Triton, with a really nifty shot, shooting it from a really low angle. Goalie Josh Hoffman really didn't have a choice to anything to do there. There was also a bit of a spill in the middle of the field between Ben Nicholas and it looked like Michael Tully. Michael Tully took a trip and stumbled Ben Nicholas a little bit. So that's an early goal for Highland and a big way to start.
The Tartans up 1-0 after the goal from Matt Evan Keefe. Matt Tuttle about to take the faceoff against Rene Camacho. So Tuttle looked like he won it early. Ball still loose. And it's picked up by Max Bleem. Now ball back out on the ground. Whistles. And we've got a push, so it'll be Knight's ball.
A nice scrum between the two teams there. Neither one looked like they were giving up anytime soon. A push call called on Evan Keefe.
Wiley with a pass to Gordon, but that one's scooped up by Grenice.
Gordon had an open shot there if he could corral the ball. Looked like his body was moving a little faster than his brain was and just couldn't make the right play in the right time.
Here's Velez. He was pressed by Gordon, made a nice pass. So Highland working the ball up the field. There's a pass to Keefe. He scored earlier. This shot offline, but it will stay with Highland. Closest to it was Braden Farrell.
Keefe doing that sneaky low-angle shot, which is really smart because it's really tough for a Lacrosse goalie to get down that quickly, plus it'll hurt. So it really tests the goalie if they really want to make that save.
Keefe with another shot, that one offline. Farrell doing a nice job in that X position to really get the ball back for the Tartans. Here's Tuttle. Tuttle working inside. He's guarded by Wiley. Wiley takes that ball away. On the ground now. And picked up by Yagmer Kaya. So here's Yagmer Kaya running up the alley. Loses it. And it'll be picked up by Wiley.
And as we mentioned before, Tuttle really one of the stars in this Highland team. But freshman Carson Wiley doing a great job of staying unfazed by his move and just, making a great defensive play. Doesn't let him get by him.
Here's Spiritoso, the Knights' statistical big giant, driving inside. Shot is good. And so Spiritoso knots this game up at 1 apiece.
And the senior attacker still doing his thing. The Westminster commit has another goal on his season. Having a great season so far. Actually had 4 goals in their last game, and starts off one with an early one. Also a great set screen by James Hall, a.k.a. Bub, who blocked off a defender and gave Jake Spiritoso some open room to operate, and that's where he does best. That's where Jake Spiritoso is the most dangerous.
So just under 10 minutes on the clock. We are tied at 1 after the goal from Jake Spiritoso. And in the first couple games, Sterling really had their way against Gloucester Catholic and Triton. Highland putting up a bit more of a fight as Camacho wins that faceoff. Here's Bleem. Bleem racing up the field, now loses it. And a turnover there for Max Bleem. Nice job by Wiley to get physical. Lots of contact and now whistles. As it was Jack Nestor that went down with the ball.
And Camacho being a freshman is so impressive to me because him and his face-off circle is really, really good. He uses his lower half well, as we've seen him do in wrestling from time to time as well. He uses his lower half and pushes, and he's really powerful in that circle and really has helped Sterling get possession early.
So here's Carson Wiley. Driving, nice pass into the hands of Grenice.
It hasn't resulted in a goal yet, but Dom Gordon is doing a great job of slipping and sliding between the defenses and finding open holes in order to create passes for his teammates.
Wiley with the ball again, guarded by Tuttle. Now slowing this down and waiting for Dad to give him the play call. So here goes Wiley. Makes a move, spins, pass to Spiritoso. Spiritoso thought about a shot, now gets it to Gordon. Gordon with the shot, nice save by Grenice. Ball still out, being batted around, still on the ground. And Evan Keefe has it for the Tartans. Keefe running up the alley, looking for some help. Over the middle of the field to Nestor. Nestor met and pressed by Wiley. And now open field for Jack Nestor. Nestor with a pass, shot. Good defense there from Ensar Yagmerkaya. Andrew Peak running up the side of the field. Peak with some open space.
Taking it coast to coast.
Peak looking, dumps this one to Gordon. Gordon with a pump fake, doesn't get the shot off. Good defense there from the Highland Tartans.
the Arcadia commit, Andrew Peak, looking to go coast to coast there almost. He really took that, and he was moving.
So here is Bub Hall. Finds Carson Wiley. Coming onto the field now, John Goebel, number 28 for Sterling. So here comes Wiley. Wiley looking, doesn't use the screen from Spiritoso. There's a shot offline, and it will stay with Sterling thanks to the effort from Jeremy Clark.
So watching the Knights last year, one of their biggest problems is that Jake Spiritoso was one of their only weapons. Now this year, they brought in 2 freshmen, in Carson Wiley and Jeremy Clark, to diversify the scoring just a little bit. And that's caused teams a lot of problems, because now it's not just Jake Spiritoso's show. There's a lot of people getting involved now.
Spiritoso spinning, guarded by Keefe. Spiritoso looking for some help. Can't make a good pass there to Bub Hall, and that one will go out of play. It'll be Highland ball.
Jake Spiritoso got swarmed on, almost looked like a triple team.
So here's Velez. Makes a pass there to Brockenborough. Up now is Highland. Here's Dolan with it. Makes a pass. That one a little offline. So here comes Wiley. Carson Wiley racing up the field. Looking. Finds Spiritoso. Spiritoso pump fakes. Here's a shot, and that one is in. Jake Spiritoso with his second goal of the contest. It's now 2-1 Sterling.
And a veteran shot selection there from Jake Spiritoso. A bouncing ball is one of the tougher things to stop as a goalie, because on turf especially, it can take so many different bounces. So a bouncing ball shot is incredibly tough for a goalie to save. Jake Spiritoso's shot is incredibly tough for a goalie to save, and that is his second of the game.
So Spiritoso with 2 goals now on the contest. This one making it 2-1 in favor of Sterling with 6:30 left to go. If you're just joining us, I'm Jake Clark, joined by Dan Leakin here on the call. So here's the face-off. Tuttle wins this one over Camacho. And Tuttle now moving up the field with some speed. Makes a pass. Couldn't corral it. There's a shot. Nice save there from Josh Hoffman.
And Josh Hoffman already doing a tremendous job this game. Only has allowed a 1, but it's had a couple nice saves. And it's been tough to come back from such a great goaltender like Frank Hartman, but Josh Hoffman has done a ridiculously good job of replacing him, learning a little bit of what he's teaching. And Evan Keefe got away with a little bit of a cross-check there, Jake.
Yeah, and that one looked to be the back of the head of Carson Wiley. Keefe got away with one. There's a shot that gets away from Highland. And you can see head coach Clint Wiley fired up with the no call there.
Jake, I'm not sure when he's not fired up. Head coach Clint Wiley gets really into these games, and he's always fired up.
So now ball is loose. Nice job from Highland there. It was Gorman that played that one. Now in the middle of the field, it's scooped up by Hall. Hall on the far side of the field. Keefe with some contact. Whistles. And I believe that Coach Wiley called a timeout there, since that Bub Hall was in some trouble on the far side of the field.
Well, James Hall was taking a little bit of contact, and we know James Hall is a football player, so he's used to a little bit of contact. But, man, they were starting to corral him a little bit. That was a really wise timeout there from Coach Wiley, and just, getting his players a break, corralling them a little bit, and have a set offensive game plan going into the offensive zone. And they've done a really good job so far, so let's hope they can keep that up just a little bit. They've had Highland on their toes. They definitely have had Highland on their toes just a little bit. And, this defense isn't prepared to see how many weapons Sterling has.
Still a very competitive game to this point, as it's only 2-1 on the scoreboard in favor of Sterling. Timeout call with 5:31 left on the clock.
And as Jake mentioned before, a beautiful day today. We had some showers earlier, big time, but again, with great showers becomes a great sun. And sun isn't out right now, but we got a nice breeze. I went down to our camera woman, Karina. She said she's a little cold. But in the booth here, we have a little bit of protection from the breeze.
Honestly, not that bad weather-wise. Earlier, it looked really ugly out with the rain, but the rain cleared up, and that's the great thing. That's one of the positives of having the new turf field is you're able to get these games in. Without the turf, the field would have been too muddy. So the new AstroTurf, a good investment.
Definitely. And, Jake, I think this is year 2 with the turf? Maybe
it's now a first full year. They installed it, and I remember one of the first games we ever did on the turf was a girls' lacrosse game.
I remember sitting in Mr. Greener's geometry class and watching it every day slowly get built. And it was a really cool process, and I think it came out perfectly. I think all that time was worth it. I mean, the turf field's beautiful. And I know a lot of teams prefer playing on it. Like, it's a really nice field. They did a really good job of making it perfect for football, lacrosse, soccer, you name it. Unfortunately, not baseball, though.
You can't play baseball here on the turf. Neither softball either, but still great for boys, girls lacrosse, boys, girls soccer, football.
Track.
The track. Winter and spring track.
I think that's it. I think we got everything.
Covered all bases there as we get back to the action on the field. Here is Carson Wiley. Gets it back to Hall. Hall working. Makes a cut. Makes another man miss. There's Keefe. Another hard hit from Keefe, and this time a flag flies. So looks like Evan Keefe will be sent to the penalty box.
Yeah, they let him get away with the first one there, but that one was a little bit too much contact. I personally know Evan Keefe, and I know he comes from a hockey background, so that could be a little bit from where that aggression comes from. Evan Keefe with 2 hard hits in a row, and I don't think the refs were letting that one go that time. So Keefe does get sent into the sin bin, and that puts the Knights a man up.
Keefe, if you remember, scored the only goal for Highland in this contest. Now out on the sidelines in the penalty box. Here's Clark. Good pass to Wiley. Finds Spiritoso on the other side of the field. Spiritoso tripped up. And another flag flies. Really aggressive there, especially with Jake Spiritoso down on the ground.
And Xavier Velez getting a little aggressive there with a couple whacks on Jake Spiritoso while he was laying on the ground. And another player sent to the sin bin for Highland. So now it is a 6-on-4 on the other end. Sterling now has 2 men up.
Sterling now with the 2-man advantage, as Dan mentioned. So here's Jeremy Clark to bring this one in. Pass to Wiley. Wiley loses it for a second. Pass to Spiritoso. Spiritoso fires a shot. That one out of play. Will stay with Sterling.
Spiritoso looking to pick the corner there. Just doesn't get what he wants.
Tully finds Hall. Now to Spiritoso. Spiritoso. Keefe is now out of the box. Shot from Wiley is good. So Carson Wiley finds the back of the net for his first goal here today. Makes it 3-1 Sterling Knights.
Freshman with his first goal of the day. Jake Spiritoso with 2, and he has 1. That notches his goal total up to 8 on the year, breaking his nice 7-7 points. He had 7 goals and 7 assists, now gets 8. And a great great campaign for the freshman to start his early lacrosse career.
4:31 remains on the clock. It's 3-1 Sterling Knights after the goal from Carson Wiley, his first on the day. We are back to full strength after the goal. Ball still on the ground. And this one is scooped up by Max Bleem. Bleem finds Wiley, who just scored the goal on the previous trip down the field.
Wiley, a transition player, will not play defense midfield, but will get subbed on for attack. Which is where his greatest strength is shooting and scoring.
So here's Spiritoso. Pass there to Gordon. Right back to Jake Spiritoso. Good ball movement here from the Knights. It's Max Bleem outside.
And slow and steady, Jake, is one of the smartest things you can do in lacrosse, because if you force something, it's almost an immediate turnover. So taking it slow and finding your shot is one of the smarter things that Sterling can do right now.
Here's Spiritoso. Looking, finds Hall. Hall spins. Keefe with another flag against Keefe. And lots of contact. Highland playing very aggressive. Here's Spiritoso. Finds Hall. Shot is good for Bub Hall. Finds the back of the net for his first goal of the day. It's 4-1.
Talk to him, Bub. Bub Hall got lit up twice. And in that second hit, he got a nice goal, and he was talking to him. He was letting him know who he is. And Bub Hall has been another player who's really broken out for this boys lacrosse team. He joined the team last year, recommended by his good buddy Jake Spiritoso, but now he's really finding his own. You know him as a football player, but now he's really taking his talents onto the lacrosse field, doing a great job. And what a shot there while absorbing contact.
Took the hit like a champ and was rewarded with the goal. Evan Keefe sent to the box for the second time today. It's 4-1 Sterling with 3:18 left to go after Bub Hall scores.
Again, Evan Keefe sent to the sin bin. This is the third penalty, and it's only 3 minutes left in the first quarter. And our camera woman telling us that it is a 2-minute personal, which is a lot of time, especially in lacrosse without a shot clock.
Whistles, and Sterling will have possession.
A false start called there on Matt Tuttle.
So here come the Knights. Carson Wiley leading the charge, finds Jeremy Clark. Clark looking. Pass to Wiley. Swings it to Spiritoso. Right back to Wiley. Wiley with a pass. Here's Gordon. Can't get that shot to go. Good defense from Velez. Ball being batted around, and it's scooped up by Grenice.
Remember, this is a 2-minute penalty, so Evan Keefe is stuck there for a little bit.
Nestor with a pass to Tuttle. Tuttle working, backs this one out. Wiley playing aggressive. Tuttle looking for some help. He's now doubled by Wiley and Tully. Can't get that one scooped up there by Andrew Peak. Peak taking that long stick down the field. Peak looking, fires up a shot. That one doesn't go. The defenseman, Andrew Peak, eager to shoot that one. Doesn't get a lot of shot opportunities.
An ambitious shot there from Andrew Peak. Honestly, not the wrong one, just trying to get one in with time expiring on Evan Keefe's penalty. But a funny one. Shot scored!
So the Knights find the back of the net there, courtesy to Carson Wiley, his second of today's game, extending the lead 5-1. Just over 2 minutes remain in this first quarter.
Took Jake's call there by accident, but he was writing down some notes. So a really nice shot there from Carson Wiley, right at the that's basketball, but I'm going to say it right at the top of the key, right in the middle. Just a really perfect shot past the goaltender, and now has extended this lead to 4.
So we've got whistles.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure, Jake, that is another penalty. He just got sent off. Oh, it's because it's a man. So a personal foul, 2 minutes. I don't think the man comes back into the game because it's a personal foul. So I think Highland got a little confused and sent their man back in.
There's a shot, another good save there by Josh Hoffman. Second save of the day for the junior keeper. Here is Julian Vera working past his midfield, looking for some help, guarded by Tuttle. Gets this one away to Wiley. Here comes Carson Wiley, looking, takes some contact. Nice job there by the Highland defense. And a good job to stay with it was Gallo. Gallo finds Smith. That one taken away. Here's Tully. Tully finds Clark. Play call coming in from the Sterling bench. So Clark to orchestrate the offense here. Pass to Wiley. Wiley with a shot on the ground. That one doesn't go. John Goebel closest to it, so it'll stay with Sterling.
Freshman to freshman doing a really good job this season of just complementing each other's games. And, I mean, Jeremy Clark and Carson Wiley are going to be a duo to fear for the future.
Shot from Tully, no good. This one goes out of play. Goebel there. So Goebel brings this one in, finds Hall. Here's Wiley to Clark. Clark fires a shot. That one stopped by Grenice. Here's Tully after Sterling got it back. Shot was blocked there by Brockenborough. Tully with a pass to the X spot to Goebel. Goebel making the extra pass, but that one sails the length of Spiritoso. Clark with a quick pass to Tully. Good defense there from the Tartans. Ends up with Spiritoso. Spiritoso backing this one out. Can't get it to Hall, but Wiley is there. And Farrell running up the alley. And the buzzer sounds on the scoreboard, so that'll do it for the first quarter of action. 5-1, the Knights lead it after the first. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sterling High School for boys lacrosse. The Knights lead over the Highland Tartans 5-1 after the first period, and Jake Spiritoso and Carson Wiley were really cooking for the Knights in that first quarter.
Yeah, they're doing a good job, and I think the Knights overall are doing a great job of just distributing the ball around. Every person has gotten a touch on offensive possessions, and I think that's really what's throwing this Highland defense off, and the amount of weapons that the Knights have are throwing the Highland defense off as well.
And on the Highland side of things, a lot of costly penalties. Evan Keefe, the one lone goal scorer for the Tartans with 2 penalties already.
Yeah, they've had a lot of just, I'm trying to find the word for it, I would say unprofessional penalties. I just don't think they were needed. Just a lot of really stupid penalties, and they got to really shorten those up coming into the half and coming into the second quarter.
Camacho going against Tuttle for the face-offs. And this one scooped up by Highland. There's a shot from Keefe. Nice save there from Josh Hoffman, his 3rd save of the contest.
Josh Hoffman doing a great job of just tracking that ball. Not an amazing shot selection there from Evan Keefe. Kind of put it where Josh could save it. But again, amazing job by Josh Hoffman.
So here's Tully racing up the field, cross field pass there. Here's Jeremy Clark down low. Shot low, doesn't go. Nice save by Grenice. Ball still on the ground. Here's John Goebel. Goebel wisely slowing things down, finds Wiley. Wiley driving, makes a move. Wiley, shot was tipped. Here's Clark, finds Spiritoso. Sterling still with possession. Down on the low block is Tully. Nice job there by Velez to take that one away.
Velez, a very physical defender, as we saw a little bit in that first quarter, using his size to his advantage on Mikey Tully.
Tuttle with some space, racing on the Sterling side of the field. So here is Keefe. Keefe looking, finds Dolan. Dolan taking his time. Quick pass there to Farrell. Farrell driving. Farrell making a couple men miss. Dragged down there by Yagmarkaya Hoffman with another save.
Looks like a no call there after that Yagmarkaya drag down. Looked a little suspicious to me, but the refs, the only opinions that matter are the men that are in the stripes, as Jake likes to say a lot during basketball season. So no call there.
Here's Tully working against Keefe. And Velez trying to scoop this one up, ends up in the stick of Spiritoso. Spiritoso slowing things down, gets it to Max Bleem. And so Carson Wiley slowing things down, going to look over the pieces on the chessboard before making any decisions here. Wiley Driving, guarded by Keefe. Gets this one to Spiritoso. Now Tully. Tully loses that pass. Picks it back up. Tully slowing the game down now for Sterling. Now rushes in, guarded by Smith. Tully looking for some help. Finds Clark with a nice pass there to Bleem. Beautifully set up, but a good save there by Gavin Grenice.
Yeah, Bleem looked like he just kept it on the same side as Gavin, so he really couldn't get a nice angle.
Shot is good there for Carson Wiley, his third goal of the game, so give him the hat trick. It's now 6-1 Sterling.
Freshman to freshman connection. What an amazing pass there from Jeremy Clark from right behind the net. Finds a wide open Carson Wiley, who just places it right in the pocket. Carson Wiley makes a nice little bounce shot, and it is now should be a 5-goal lead, but I don't think the scoreboard has changed that.
So 6-1 in favor of the Knights with 8:54 remaining in this second quarter. Thanks for tuning in with us here on Channel 19. I'm Jake Clark, joined by Dan Leakin here in the booth.
Having a lot of fun. I mean, this is a nice night. At least it's not too hot, too cold. A beautiful night for some lacrosse.
Yeah, the sun's starting to set. We'll probably have the stadium lights on. Tuttle wins another face-off. He's had a great day when it's come to face-offs. Highland really struggling offensively, looking to turn it around with this possession. So here's Renish. Good pass there. Shot offline. Farrell was the closest to it, so it will stay with the Tartans.
Sterling's defense is really tough to navigate around because I like to describe it as a brick wall. They have a lot of strong individuals, big individuals, who are just going to bump and rock you around. It's going to be tough to find some open space.
Outside are the Tartans working. Here's Tuttle. Makes a quick pass there. Nice move by Farrell. Nestor back to Farrell. Here comes Nicholas guarding at X. Farrell looking. Ball was taken away. Ends up in the stick of Nestor. Jack Nestor guarded by Andrew Peak, looking around for some help. Highland taking their time on this possession. That shot no good. Scooped up there by Andrew Peak. Peak looking. Looking for some help. Fires a pass across the field. Bounced. Goes out of play, so Highland will have possession. So Velez to put this one in play, finds Keefe. Now Tuttle with it. Tuttle looking around, working against Carson Wiley. Tuttle with a shot and a save there from Hoffman. Josh Hoffman doing a great job in net for Sterling.
And this isn't a bad offense by any means. This Highland offense is really high-powering, really high-scoring, and Josh Hoffman, doing a good job on a little limited starts. This is his first year as a full starter. Frank Hartman took control of the wheel last year. Obviously, he has since graduated. Josh Hoffman doing a great job to the start this year.
So the ball looks like Hoffman saved it, and it went on the other side of the net.
Will we have to pull up the tape again, Jake? A little bit of basketball flashbacks for you there.
So Hoffman to put this one in play. That pass was tipped, and a good effort there from Evan Keefe, but to no avail. Evan Keefe, the only one to score here for Highland today. 7 minutes remain at 6-1 Sterling.
Actually was the first goal of the game, too, so the Knights have scored 6 unanswered.
Pass was tipped there. Here's Clark. And ends up in the stick of Grenice. Grenice done a pretty solid job in net for the Tartans with that high-powered Sterling offense. Looks like we've got whistles down on the field.
A bit of a foul called on Jeremy Clark, big freshman year.
Jeremy Clark, just a real physical and undisciplined player at times. Really got to get his head in the game.
Oh, man, he's going to go back on this later. You're going to hear it.
Long pass there up the field. This one scooped up by Yagmerkaya for a moment. Now bounced around. And now Yagmerkaya finally settles it. We've got whistles. Looks like a timeout.
Yeah, when Yagmerkaya is going for a loose ball, you do not want to get into his way. He is a freight train, and he is really, really resilient. He keeps going for it. Like, man, he is just really, he has a drive, he has grit, he has motor. He's a really good kid, and, man, he's tough to handle.
And overall, just the competitor. Doesn't matter what you're playing.
Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Whether it's out on the lacrosse field or gym class basketball, Ensar is always, always, always going to give it 110%.
Jake, sounds like you have a bit of a personal experience with Ensar and gym class basketball, huh?
Yes, earlier today, got matched up against them. Did not end well for me.
Who made that matchup?
Well, with the team that I was placed on, a couple guys were scared to guard him, a little intimidated by his game, so I had to step up and be the one to try and just contain him. And it didn't really go my way today. Shot wasn't falling, so I was really my plus-minus was definitely way in the negative.
Hey, it happens, you know. That's life. Frank Sinatra said it best. But Sterling playing a really good game of lacrosse right now. They're all communicating. They're playing as a unit. And they're not playing as individuals, which is a really tough thing to do in lacrosse. You get in your head sometimes. You want to shoot. You want to score. And it's one of the sports that's easier to do it. But Sterling doing a great job of moving the ball around. Sterling's doing a good job of communicating, getting everyone involved. And that's confusing Highland. They're not just going to their stars. They're going to everyone. And that's something they're doing a good job.
Want a big shout-out to Carson Wiley with a hat trick early in this game. He's doing a great job of putting the Knights up. And you mentioned it, he's not the only goal scorer. Bub Hall with 1, Jake Spiritoso with 2, Carson Wiley with 3 for the Knights.
And another Wiley who performed well in a different game, Shea Wiley, having either 4 or 5, I'm not sure I remember. The Wileys are on fire tonight, Jake.
Shea Wiley, a senior here on the girls lacrosse team.
Had her first 4 or 5 goals of the year this year, bringing her point total up to 6 or 7. I think it's 7, Jake. But girls with a pretty handed win. They kind of lost it a little bit in the first half, but they brought it back, and Toni Troilo eclipsed her 100-goal mark, also getting her 101st at the same time. So congratulations to her, and congratulations to the team for their first win of the season.
And when I was up here for that game, did I hear 9 goals?
9 goals, Jake. It was pretty ridiculous. It was the Troilo show.
Great showing from the Kutztown University commit. As we get back to the boys' game, here's Wiley getting guarded tightly there by Matt Tuttle. So here is Tully. Finds Hall. Sterling slowing up the pace of the game. Hall guarded by Farrell. Looking, backs this one out to Tully. And right now Sterling with a sizable lead up by 5, taking their time here.
And that's what a lot of lacrosse is, just taking your time, finding your shot. You don't pick your right shot, it's not going to go well for you.
Wiley spinning. That one taken away by Tuttle. Tuttle looking, tried to find Velez. Good work there by Mikey Tully. And that one scooped up by Jeremy Clark. Here's Goebel. Finds Wiley. Here's Bub Hall working, spinning, loses it into the stick of Tuttle. Finds Evan Keefe. Keefe with some space, and now the Tartans are on an offensive attack. Pass there to Dolan. Dolan with a shot, scooped up and saved by Josh Hoffman.
Josh Hoffman doing a great job of not being scared of the pressure, except embracing it and accepting the challenge. And Josh Hoffman has led up to the challenge greatly today so far.
Bub Hall taking a lot of shots over the middle of the field, still with it, loses it now, ends up in the hands or the stick of Farrell.
You can really see the running back in Bub Hall. I mean, he's taken shot after shot after shot so far this game, and he's still managed to possess the ball, and that's really impressive, especially in lacrosse.
Just one hit after another and maintain possession of the ball. Impressive run up the field there from Bub Hall, number 1 of Sterling.
Sterling going for the Hail Mary shot right there from Andrew Peak straight up the field.
So here's Tuttle leading the charge. Whistles and a timeout there called by Matt Tuttle. So Highland takes a timeout with 3:48 remaining. Still 6-1 Sterling in the second quarter.
And, man, Sterling's defense and Josh Hoffman is doing a really good job of not giving Highland any opportunity. They had one earlier in the game from a great shot from Evan Keefe that was low, and it's a really tough shot to save if you're a lacrosse goalie. But ever since then, just save after save, stop after stop. You really got to commend this defense and Josh Hoffman, what they're doing so far today.
Yeah, Hoffman had a great save on that last trip up by the Tartans where Sterling didn't really have the numbers back. Looked like it was a 4-on-3, and a shot came in, and Hoffman did a nice job getting the stick low, scooped it up for the save, and keeps it to a 6-1 score in favor of Sterling.
Until this game, Josh Hoffman has only allowed 8 goals, 2 against Gloucester Catholic and 6 against Triton. A really impressive showing early in the season from the junior who really has never had that many starts.
Yeah, when you talk about it, I mean, Frank Hartman had some big shoes to fill, and Josh Hoffman here today has done a nice job of really going up to the challenge. Frank Hartman, a great goalie. Josh Hoffman just doing his best, and he's doing a great job out there, not being afraid to be great in net.
And a tough division last year and a tough opponents, and Frank Hartman still stood his ground with 211 saves last year. That's really impressive. He did a really good job, and like you said, Josh had some pretty big shoes to fill, and he's doing a really good job so far, only allowing 1 within the half.
And your goalie is just as good as your defense. And Sterling's defense, as we've mentioned time and time again on this broadcast, is very talented with a lot of big and tall and strong defenders. It's making it really hard for Highland. And on the scoreboard, it's showing only 1 goal. And it happened really early in this game from Evan Keefe.
It's like they remind me of a ton of meatballs out there. They're just big, they're strong, they're physical. They're not scared of you bumping into them. They're going to embrace that and bump back. And, I mean, so that's why it's tough for teams to game plan against that because you can't use your physicality. You try to use your speed, and they really do well at closing off. A really well-coached defense. Big commend to Coach Wiley, and also, obviously, a big commend to Josh Hoffman.
Looks like both teams break the huddle. It'll be Matt Tuttle to bring this one in once the whistle sounds. Sterling trotting back out onto the field.
There's that big defense we're talking about. The current set is looking like Big Ben Nicholas, Channel 19 zone, Ensar Yager Merkaya, and Arcadia commit Andrew Peak. 3 really tall guys, 3 really physical guys, are really tough to play against.
Ball is out on the ground, and Andrew Peak scoops it up. Peak running on the near side of the field, now works back towards the middle. Peak looking, makes a pass upfield to Carson Wiley. Wiley with a nice pass there. Gordon's shot is stopped by Gavin Grenice.
Right shot selection at the right time. Just a really nice save from Gavin Grenice there on Dom Gordon, who has stuffed him a few times this game.
Gavin Grenice, the freshman goalie, doing a nice job in net. Only 6 goals allowed here today with a high-powered Sterling offense. They scored 17 goals in their 2 previous games this year, so Grenice doing a good job up to this point. Looks like we have a stoppage of play.
I think they're looking for a ball to use because I think the other one went out.
3:11 remains here in this second quarter. Still 6-1 as we've had a little bit of a scoring drop from both sides.
Yeah, but no shortage of some good defense shown by both sides. I mean, Highland's doing their thing, and they're trying really hard to stop this high-powered Sterling offense and doing a great job in doing so. And on the other end, we've obviously talked about Sterling. So 2 very high-powered defense, and sometimes it's a really fun game to watch.
So here's Spiritoso. Thought about a shot. Passes this one off. Shot is scored from Carson Wiley. His 4th goal on tonight's contest makes it 7-1 in favor of Sterling.
You tell him, big freshman, your way to go. Way to shoot that, and what a pass from Jake Spiritoso. I mean, almost like the mentor to the learner, and it was just a really nice play, really nice set design. I mean, Jake Spiritoso got him with the pump fake, and you're worried so much about Jake Spiritoso that sometimes people seep open, and that's what's happened with a lot of these goals for Sterling, is that they're so worried about either Carson or Spiritoso that other people crowd in and they get some wide open looks. So that was a really nice play there from the Knights.
So Spiritoso to Wiley to the back of the net, and now it's 7-1 Sterling. Face off, nice win there by Tuttle. Tuttle, again, done a great job against Camacho in the face-offs.
And Camacho is a tough matchup, Jake. I mean, a .5 win percentage is pretty good in lacrosse standards, and Camacho just a freshman dealing with a senior, and it's tough.
Shot was just tossed up there by Braden Farrell. Just threw it. Wasn't even facing the net and just heaved it over the back of the net. Highland trying anything and everything to just find another goal.
And that's what this defense almost does to you. It makes you try those things because you're just running out of those ideas. So we were just visited by Shea Wiley, who, again, had a great showing in today's game against Medford Friends.
I think it was Morristown Friends.
Morristown Friends.
Morristown
That's on me
Friends.
right there. That's on me.
The only reason I know that is because our boys lacrosse team tends to end up matching up with Morristown Friends a couple of times in previous years.
I honestly didn't know they existed until today. I was like, oh, that's a cool school.
I believe it's a small little private school.
It is a small little private school, and Ben thinks that their mascot's the Foxes, so it's the Morristown Friends Foxes.
Nevertheless, we get back to boys lacrosse here on the turf. Here's Jeremy Clark, fires up a shot. Coach Wiley fired up that there wasn't enough hustle to go get the ball at the end of that play.
And giving them an earful at that one. I think in once every lacrosse player's years, they experience an earful from Mr. Wiley, and I think Jeremy's getting it right now.
So here's Spiritoso backing down. Shot is up and good. Top corner there for Jake Spiritoso, his second of the day, and he extends the lead for the Knights.
And something that's really important in lacrosse is the ability to switch hands. And that's what Jake Spiritoso does really well, which makes him a threat from either side. And that's where he showed on display right there. He had it on his one side, switched, and then quickly switched back, and the defender didn't know what he was doing. And that's exactly what he did. Ripped it top bins, and that was a really nice shot there from Jake Spiritoso.
Quick correction there. That's Spiritoso's third, so he now has a hat trick. Wiley with 4, Spiritoso with 3, and Bub Hall with 1 is now it is 8-1 in favor of Sterling with less than 2 minutes to go.
And apparently, according to some of the boys, their last game against Triton, they got off to a really slow start, and Clint Wiley was giving him the ear about it. But I think he might be happy with this start here going into the end of this half.
This one on the far side of the field, picked up by Sterling. Here's Tully. Tully making Keefe miss. Pass there to Jeremy Clark. Dumps it off to Wiley.
Sterling a little late on their switches there and caused Mikey Tully to hit a roadblock, but he did a great job navigating it and still maintaining possession.
So here's Carson Wiley. Looking, spinning, driving, shot, and scores! Carson Wiley's 5th goal of the game. Makes it a 9-1 Sterling lead in the second quarter.
An insanely impressive spin move there, using his speed to his advantage. Jake, when we covered soccer throughout the season, you were doing cross country, but when we covered soccer, we saw him use his speed all the time, and it showed on a soccer field, on a lacrosse field where some of the players are a little slower. That's where he comes on full display, and that spin move was well executed, perfectly done. An amazing goal for his 5th of the game so far, Jake.
Sterling making a quick change here. Looks like Jeremy Clark going to face off against Matt Tuttle. Clark and Camacho, both freshmen, both good friends, used to wrestle with one another. However, Highland looked like they had it, but scooped up there by Jeremy Clark.
Jeremy Clark with an insanely good effort there, using his strength and bully balling. What was it, Tuttle off the ball, and that was a really good job there from the freshman.
So here is Max Bleem slowing it down. They're letting Clark switch sticks. Jeremy with his face-off stick. I believe he is a wood base for the face-off stick. Or I could be wrong. That could be his normal stick he has a wood base. I know he's got a wood stick.
I would, when you get home, commend him, and that was a really nice face-off right there, using his lower half again and just bully balling off the ball, and that I think what Jeremy does best.
Wiley with a pass, clock ticking down.
You hear Big Ben shouting 10 seconds from the other end.
3 seconds now. Spiritoso with a shot and saved by Grenice. So that'll do it for the first half of action. Sterling with a large lead on the scoreboard, 9-1 over the Highland Tartans. We'll be right back with second half action after this.
And welcome back here to some boys lacrosse as we're getting ready for the start of the second half. The boys are leading 9-1, even though we have no scoreboard right now. And it was almost dominance the first half. The boys were all over the place. Their ground balls were really efficient. They did a good job of scooping. And Jake's hustling his way back now to give you a bigger rundown.
So we're about ready for second half action after this. I'm Jake Clark, joined by Dan Leakin, and now Brian McLernan joining us for the second half of action.
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. You saw a movie?
I did.
How was your movie?
Oh, it was very good.
What'd you go see?
I saw Civil War.
And it was good?
Yes.
Nice.
What's very good is Sterling's offensive production and the lead they have on the scoreboard. 9-1 they lead this contest over the Highland Tartans.
It's been 9 unanswered goals as well. Evan Keefe got the first one for the Tartans, got the scoring started, and then ever since then, Sterling has dominated.
Highland with an opportunity, but that one unsuccessful from Cooper Dolan. Here's Yagmerkaya running up the alley. Yagmerkaya, multiple defenders miss, makes a pass. That one intercepted by Velez. Velez heaves one, knocked down there by Julian Vera. This one scooped up by Mikey Tully. Tully finds Bleem. Bleem with some open space. He's got wheels. Wheels and a pass that had some wheels and was just a bit offline. Too hot to handle, and Dom Gordon couldn't corral that one. So here's Brockenborough. Brockenborough running. Brockenborough with some space, makes a pass. This one bounces. Dolan looking, knocked down there by Ben Nicholas, one of Channel 19's own, one of the cameramen, heaves it to Hoffman. Josh Hoffman looking. Andrew Peak with some space, and now the things start to settle down.
Dangerous play there from Josh Hoffman. Left his crease big time and kind of did a risky pass over to Andrew Peak. Luckily, it got there with no trouble.
So here's Spiritoso. Finds the player of the game to this point, Carson Wiley, with 5 goals in that first half.
Matching his sister's total in the first game with 5. I just confirmed it. So Shea and Carson both with 5 goals apiece.
Wiley finds Spiritoso. Spiritoso outside, looking, spins. Spiritoso back to Wiley. Wiley with a low shot. Nice save there by Grenice.
And I talked about it earlier. Those low shots are really tough to save for a goal. You really got to track it all the way, and that was a really nice save from Grenice.
Go ball to Wiley. Wiley looking, spins, finds Spiritoso. Spiritoso with a shot. Will stay with Sterling.
Maintaining that offensive possession, Sterling's doing a really good job of spreading the ball around.
Yeah, and Jake Spiritoso going into this one, 8 goals on the season, so hopefully he can add to that total in this one.
Now has 11 with his hat trick here today. So Wiley popped that ball up. He's guarded by Keefe. Keefe, if you remember, has 2 penalties in this one, playing very aggressive on defense. Here's Bleem, spins, working against Tuttle, finds Spiritoso. Spiritoso with speed. He heaves that one. No good.
And pretty impressive footwork there from Max Bleem, showing off that little soccer footwork that he uses.
And there's a shot and a goal for the Sterling Knights. So they extend their lead 10-1.
You can't have much of a better start to the season than that. 3 straight games to start the year with double-digit goals.
Mm-hmm. I think that one was Jake Spiritoso.
I believe that you're right, Dan. Not totally sure.
Looks like Dan's going to go figure that out if he can open the door.
If it was Jake Spiritoso, it's his 4th of the game.
That would make it his 12th of the year, right?
Our camera operator, Karina, says that it is, in fact, number 45, Jake Spiritoso. So that makes it his 4th goal of the game, 12th of the season. And now a 10-1 lead for Sterling.
This has just been complete dominance. And, I mean, Sterling just doing, just putting everything together. I mean, their ball movement's been impeccable. Their shot selection's been great, and it's really led them to this big lead.
Shot from Tuttle, no good there. So 9:27 remains in this third quarter. Thanks for tuning in with us here on Channel 19. Ben Nicholas getting physical on the outside against Dolan. Flattens Dolan out. Scooped up by Tully. Camera operator by day, lacrosse player by night. Ben Nicholas
Almost
with some physicality.
reminds me of Batman.
So here's Spiritoso guarded by Keefe. Spinning. Pass there to Goebel. Highland getting very physical. Great work there by the Highland defense.
Yeah, when you're a team struggling down by 9, that's got to be something that you love to see if you're one of the Highland coaches, seeing the aggressiveness, seeing the passion out there on the turf.
Zion Brockenborough is down with an apparent injury, took his helmet off in the middle of play, and the officials took a while to blow that one dead.
Yeah, and that's another injury for Highland, another person out in this game right now. Dante Nasola, the team's second leading goal scorer last year behind Matt Tuttle, out on the sideline with crutches and a brace over his knee.
Yeah, but he is in a lot of pain.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, unless you're really in pain, you don't take your helmet off in the middle of play. So that really shows you what condition he's in right now.
Looked to be his right leg.
I think more of a knee area. And that's the one downside. Dan and I were talking earlier that the bright side of the turf is that it rained hard today, and most of the time the grass would absorb most of the water, make today's field unplayable. But with the AstroTurf, you don't have to worry about that. This is the downside of the turf. We see a lot more knee injuries in athletes because there's not enough cushion from the AstroTurf, whereas solid ground gives enough cushion for the knees and the joints when running to have a nice place to land. You saw Brockenborough went down there, stood up on his own. Hopefully he's all right and able to return.
Yeah, he's walking under his own power, which is a really good sign. Still with a little bit of a limp, though. But a little tough for him to get to the bench right now.
But when you're running at full speed on the turf, it's kind of like rough dirt patches almost. When you're running at full speed, take a rough fall, you see the pellets jumping up from the ground. It's a rough fall. Hopefully he's okay. Good to see that he was able to walk under his own power.
Yeah, and still has not taken a seat on the bench, so he's walking under his own power currently, and just now is about to take maybe even a seat.
So while Sean Clank attends to Zion Brockenborough, we have Lacrosse still to be played 10-1 with 8:46 remaining in this third quarter. Carson Wiley to start it off for the Sterling Knights finds Jake Spiritoso. Spiritoso looking. Coming is Max Bleem. Nice save there from Gavin Grenice, the freshman, with a couple nice saves on the day for the Tartans.
Yeah, he's had a tough game. It's a tough opponent, but he's done a great job of just trying to keep him in there. I mean, he's faced some really tough shots and some really good shots as well, and it's been tough for him, especially as a freshman, to go into this, but he's doing a good job of keeping composed, making the saves that he can, and that's really what's key for the Spartans right now.
Yagmerkaya with a wayward pass, so it'll be Highland ball. Matt Tuttle to bring this one into play for the Tartans.
I think I said Spartans earlier. Excuse me, I meant Tartans.
Long pass there for Highland, looking for Farrell. Nice job defensively by Yagmerkaya to break that one up, but Evan Keefe with possession, lost it. Yagmerkaya ends up with it, knocked out, and here's Julian Vera. Vera up the field to Clark. So Jeremy Clark racing, now doubled. Jeremy Clark with a shot. Nice save there by Grenice.
That was a really good shot by Jeremy Clark. Just, again, that bounce ball is so tough to predict on turf. And that was a really nice chest save there from Grenice.
Tuttle with a pass up to Farrell, scooped up by Yagmerkaya. Sterling with it now. Sterling trying to move up the field. Major hit there by Matt Tuttle. And Sean Kerrigan went down. That was a shot from Highlands number 4, Matt Tuttle.
Yeah, and he seems to be a little bit slow getting up off that sideline. He is on his feet, but definitely a bit
knocked the wind out of him maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
It looked a little awkward, the hit. I mean, it kind of got him in the shoulder, chest area, and that'll do it. I'll definitely knock the wind out of you right there. Sterling's midfield, on that note, has done a really good job of just controlling the game. A lot of the times you can win the game in the midfield. And if the midfield controls both sides of the ball and stopping the breakouts and stopping the break-ins, that's really what's going to get you a victory. And as we see on the scoreboard, Highland has only scored once, and it was right in the beginning of the game. So Sterling's midfield and defense has been shut down of letting Highland come into the zone and letting Highland leave the zone.
So now Sterling with a man-up advantage. Here's Bub Hall, already scored once, shot off the mark, scooped up by Gavin Grenese. Grenese with a pass, now scooped up there by Gorman. Gorman with some space, heaves one, and that one will go out of play. So Sterling now brings this one in. Here's Wiley looking, finds Jeremy Clark. Jeremy Clark with a shot. Another save there by Gavin Grenese. Wiley, second chance. Another tremendous save there from Gavin Grenese. What a play there by the freshman keeper.
And he's starting to get in that zone. Those were two really good saves on two very tough shots from Jeremy Clark and Carson Wiley, who has 5 in the game so far. And those are a really good series of events there for Gavin Grenese.
Highland struggling offensively, but Grenese has done a pretty commendable job here in net. Clark looking. Pass to a cutting Wiley off the mark. Skipped up by Velez. Here's Tully. Tuttle now out of the box, so we are back at even strength. Tully listening for the play call, slowing this one down. Finds Wiley. Wiley to Spiritoso. Spiritoso looking. Wiley fades off a screen. Spiritoso finds him. Good save there by Grenese.
Also a good read from the Tartans defense to read that screen and give Carson a little bit of a bump right there.
So here's Gordon. Finds Spiritoso. Spiritoso looking, has a hat trick in this one. 4 goals in today's contest. Carson Wiley leads all scorers with 5. He has the ball now for Sterling. Pump fakes. Now a shot. Another save there by Gavin Grenese. He's locked in the zone for Highland.
And Sterling starting to rush a little bit here, which they really have no need to. They're starting to take shots from the outer circle that don't need to be made, and I think they just got to slow down and play their game like they were just playing it.
Looks like Spiritoso will bring it into play from the X position. So here is Spiritoso, guarded by Velez, spinning. Nice defense there. I believe Spiritoso stepped in the crease, so it will be Highland ball. So here's Tuttle. Tuttle with some space. Tuttle picked up by Clark. Tuttle in the alley, racing up the field. Here goes Matt Tuttle. Now slows it down. He's picked up by Wiley. Looking, heaves a pass to the X position. Good ball movement. Shot by Farrell, no good. Will stay with Highland. Highland hasn't been able to put the ball in the back of the net, Dan, but that was good ball movement there. Something to be more positive about later in the stage of this game.
Yeah, I mean, but this was one of the first times I've seen it since I couldn't even tell you when, Jake. They haven't been getting in the zone, which is why my comments about the midfield just spoke a lot of volumes. We haven't seen any ball movement because there hasn't been any ball movement. So definitely a positive to speak on, but Sterling's defense still doing a great job of just keeping them away from junior goaltender Josh Hoffman.
This one scooped up by Tuttle. Tuttle and Renish over there, but now Sterling has it. Sterling racing up the field. It's Wiley. Wiley with a pass to Clark. Clark looking over the middle of the field, just leads Gordon too strong. And it looks like it'll be Highland ball. Sterling had a chance there, but a pass just out of the reach of Dom Gordon.
Yeah, I liked what they were doing offensively, but I believe it kind of looked like Gordon tried to cut off the pass, and I think if he didn't, it would have been an easy goal for Sterling, but overall still a nice offensive effort.
Dom Gordon's had a lot of chances in the back door, and, I mean, Sterling has hit him. It just hasn't gone the way that they've needed it to.
So here's Wiley, finds Bleem. Clock ticking, still 10-1, 3:15 remaining in the third quarter. Thanks for tuning in with us here on Channel 19. I'm Jake Clark, joined by Brian McClernand and Dan Leakin for this broadcast. Spiritoso working against Velez. Nice job defensively there by Velez. So here's Wiley. Wiley slowing things down, getting the play call in from Coach Dad, I guess he would call him.
I mean, I think it's just coach, maybe. Maybe it's dad. I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean, when my dad coached me for baseball, I just call him Dad.
And there's a shot from Jake Spiritoso. His 5th goal of tonight's contest ties him with Carson Wiley as the leading scorers for the Knights. It's now 11-1.
And Jake Spiritoso continuing to prove why he's in the position that he's in. And, man, he's a really talented player. And a nice, again, these bounce shots are getting Gavin Grenice a little bit. You can tell he's a little inexperienced to trying to save them because he's let a couple go by. And, that's going to happen. I mean, they're tough to stop. And it's one of the hardest shots for a goalie to stop, especially when it's placed right and especially when it's done by someone who's a great shot in general. So Jake Spiritoso that was just a really nice play.
I mean, and Spiritoso, he was one of the top performers in South Jersey for the first week of spring sports. So, I mean, you just see that right there. A 5-goal game here tonight, a great start to the season for him, and that's why he was the top performer in South Jersey.
There's one thing Highland's winning. It's the face-off battle. Matt Tuttle with another one face-off for the Tartans. He still maintains possession. Picked up by Yagmer Kaya. Finds Keefe. Excuse me, that's Renish. Now looking for Farrell. Doesn't get it. And it looks like it'll go Sterling's way.
We got some nice weather out here tonight. Glad to see that the rain and the wind has kind of slowly gone away as the night has progressed.
What hasn't gone away is this Sterling offense as they're back on another surge. Now going to take things a little more slowly. Carson Wiley calming down the roaring Sterling offense to set up a play. Here's Wiley. He drives in, looking. Finds Spiritoso. Spiritoso pump fakes, guarded by Velez. Here's Bleem. Bleem with a pass. Wiley was looking for a cut, doesn't go. Nice job by John Goebel. Right place, right time there. Gets it to Spiritoso. Spiritoso spinning. Spiritoso driving. Shot and scores! Jake Spiritoso, number 6 on tonight, extends the lead for Sterling.
A really nice spin move. Some great footwork there from Jake Spiritoso. And just a great offensive possession there for the Knights.
Yeah, and they've been controlling the pace all night long, and they continued that with that possession, kind of slowing it down to start it out. And slowly as it progressed, Spiritoso creeped toward the middle, a great pass, finding him on the inside, and he's able to finish for his 6th goal of the game. Man, what an athlete he's become.
So Sterling now leads on the scoreboard 12-1. Sterling wins a face-off there. Nice job by Camacho. Things haven't gone his way today against Tuttle, but a win there on the face-off. So here is Bleem. Bleem racing. Bleem with a shot and scores. Max Bleem finds the back of the net for his first goal of the contest. Makes it 13-1 for Sterling. They're really just piling on here late into this game.
And the Knights are roaring right now. Everything is firing on all cylinders. And again, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that Mr. Wiley wasn't too happy with their performance against Triton. Well, I don't think he's going to be really disappointed about this. And I think they're going to make the sweet escape and bring it to the end. And for your Phillies watchers at home, oh wait, this isn't live. Well, for the people watching at home in the future, the Phillies are losing 1-0 to the Pittsburgh Pirates on City Connect night. Forgot we're not live.
And those new City Connect uniforms, I really haven't gotten a chance to talk to Brian about it. So what better place to do it than on a Friday night on television? Brian, what are your thoughts on the new City Connect uniforms for the Phillies? Because I have some mixed feelings on them.
I also have some mixed feelings on them. First off, I think the most agreed upon part of the uniform is the hat. I think most people really like the hat, myself included. I think it is very sharp. The uniforms are a bit of a question mark to me, kind of like Trey Turner's number 7. The font to me on the uniforms, both for the number and for the Philly across their chest, it's a little funky looking.
That and the fact that Nike made them, and the Nike jerseys for me so far have looked horrible. Like, I think the powder blues yesterday did not look good. They looked like my China Ranger Suarez jersey looked better than Ranger Suarez's Ranger Suarez jersey.
Nice save there by Grenice as we get back to lacrosse action. Time ticking down, 5 seconds remain. Velez picks this one up, tries to heave it. That time it doesn't go either. And so the buzzer sounds, and Sterling with a very commanding lead, 13-1. Welcome back to Sterling Channel 19. Fourth quarter action about to get underway. It's been all Sterling. Scored 13 unanswered here in this one. Through 3 quarters, it's 13-1 over the Highland Tartans. And guys, they really put their foot on the gas towards the end of that third quarter.
They definitely did, and honestly, I think it's been on the gas the entire game. But again, Ben likes to tell me a lot that no lead is safe in lacrosse, and Sterling's done a great job of making sure that their lead is safe and adding on more insurance goals than I can think. And they have now officially scored 13 unanswered goals.
And I mean, the first half of this second half did start out a bit slow. We probably only saw maybe 1 goal for Sterling through the first 6 minutes or so, but they really started to pick it up in the last few minutes, and as you said, Dan, really have made this lead safe for the Knights.
Also, something to note, Jake Spiritoso, the senior who has 6 goals on the night tonight, was getting checked out on the sideline by Sean Clank. It's important that it's good that he's back in. Very fortunate. Just a little note there to look out for his injury health.
So here is Spiritoso. Looks okay on this drive. Finds Tully. Tully with a nice pass to Goebel. Goebel shoots and misses. Shot just too high there from John Goebel, but a good piece of art with the work of ball movement there.
And that was a really good pass there from Mikey Tully right in the pocket of John Goebel. Just couldn't finish, sends it wide.
Yeah, just a bit wide to the right, a little bit too much power than he might have liked.
There's a shot that finds the back of the net. Spiritoso's 7th goal of tonight's contest. He's been red hot since the opening faceoff, extends the lead. It's now 14-1.
So now comes the question, gentlemen. Will Jake Spiritoso catch Tony Troilo? In the last game, Tony Troilo had 9. Spiritoso's at 7. So we will see what happens.
He's got about 10 and a half minutes.
10 and a half minutes left. Another quick shout out to Tony Troilo, who just eclipsed her 100th goal mark. We shouted it out a little earlier in the broadcast, but Brian was not here for it. So
yeah, what was the final score of that game?
I think
17-12?
17-12. Very high scoring.
It was back and forth for a while, and then Sterling did a nice job of really closing out strong with a good fourth quarter.
A player on Morristown Friends also eclipsed a 100th goal mark, so if she watches this, congratulations to you too. But again, Tony Troilo had 9 in the win. She eclipsed her 100th and 101st goal in the game, so congratulations to her and her triple hat trick.
Here's Spiritoso, pump fakes, looking, finds Bleem. Max Bleem working against Nestor. Bleem with a pass to the middle, shot by Tully, spikes it in front of the net. Good job by John Goebel, hustling to maintain offensive possession, and we've seen him do that multiple times throughout this game.
Yeah, the hustle on Sterling is unmatched, and they're doing an extremely good job of just, fighting for every loose ball, going out of bounds when they need to, and a tremendous job. A tremendous job by the Knights. A tremendous job by the Knights after Jake accidentally turned off my microphone.
Here goes Tuttle. Tuttle flying up the field. Tuttle with a pass and a shot there off the mark. Looks like it'll stay with Highland. Shot off the mark there from Cooper Dolan.
And Tuttle showing a little bit of that hustle. Doing a great job of getting up the field really quickly. And he's been kind of quiet all night tonight, so he's kind of getting his momentum a little bit in the fourth.
Well, Highland offensively has been quiet all night, but Tuttle doing a good job with the face-offs. Probably has over 80% won between the matchups against Clark and Camacho.
Well, two freshmen, it's a little tough for them to go against such an experienced face-off man. Again, I mentioned in the pregame show that Tuttle won about 0.5% of his face-offs, which is extremely impressive to win half of every time you go into that circle, which is more than maybe 15 times a game. So it's really impressive that he had those numbers. And again, two freshmen going against him, it's a little tough.
In a game like this, it's probably been 20-plus face-offs between the four quarters, the amount of goals that have been scored. And it looks like Ensar Yagmerkaya had a pushing foul, so he's out in the box for 30 seconds. So Highland with a prime opportunity to try and score here.
And there's that physicality that we were talking about earlier and that grit from Ensar Yagmerkaya, almost just a little too much.
This shot off the mark. Looks like Sterling hustled to it. Ben Nicholas was the closest to the ball. Peak with a pump fake. And now Peak with some open space. Heaves this one up. Looking for Julian Vera, but it was offline. Rolls up the field. Velez and Spiritoso were fighting for it. Spiritoso is victorious in gaining the ground ball. Bleem finds Clark. Clark to Wiley. And Wiley has done a good job as a freshman really orchestrating this offense for Sterling that now has 14 goals. He's been the guy to really slow things down, carry out the play, and find ways to execute.
And Carson Wiley doing many things that included, but also giving Sterling another really good option, a really good goal scorer, and also masks Jake Spiritoso a little bit like he's been targeted every year. It gives him a little bit more breathing room to do what he can do best, and also puts a lot more attention onto the other people.
Spiritoso with 7, Wiley with 5, and Max Bleem and Bub Hall with 1 apiece to make up Sterling's 14. Spiritoso finds Goebel. Goebel shot in and out. So the post helping out Gavin Grenice there.
I think Goebel has done everything but make it in the net, and he's fiending for one right now.
So 5:50 remaining. It's 14-1 Sterling. Thanks for tuning in with us here on Channel 19. I'm Jake Clark, joined by Brian McClernand and Dan Leakin for Boys Lacrosse on the Turf on a Friday night here at the Castle.
It's been an amazing time.
Bleem spinning, did almost the 360 there and was a little off target, but Sterling will maintain possession. There's John Goebel again with the hustle.
And did I hear that Ben Nicholas did play-by-play for the girls lacrosse game?
Don't mention it.
He did.
He did a job. Don't know if it was a good one, but he did a job.
I'm kind of excited to hear it.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I'm okay. Maybe curious.
A little unprepared. He was. I cannot lie.
Well, hey, everyone.
He
practice makes perfect.
did not have physical roster sheets for us to look at. So it was a journey.
There was a shot, and it looks like two players torn up. Hall is limping around the 35-yard line, down for Highland. Was, I believe, Xavier Velez. Hall now walking on 2 feet, but was definitely tangled up. Velez on both of his feet.
Sean Clank rolling in his golf cart. So he'll come and check Bub Hall out. He was hopping off very quickly. As he throws his stick down, he'll lay on the turf to get looked at.
So correction, it wasn't Xavier Velez, it was Zion Brockenborough.
Ah, really?
Again.
Ah, poor kid.
This is the second time he's had to come off due to an injury. Came back into the game walking on his own power yet again.
Well, lacrosse is the fastest game played on 2 feet, and sometimes it's the fastest game played on 2 feet. A lot of collisions, a lot of injuries happen, which is really the unfortunate thing. And this poor kid has been the butt end of 2 injuries, so hopefully he's all good.
So hopefully Brockenborough is okay for the second time. Hopefully Bub Hall is all right on the sideline right now, holding his right knee up. And it looks to be more of a foot injury for Hall. I just want to shout out Karina, our camera operator for tonight's contest, doing a great job of just relaying us information. We're back in the booth, so it's tough to see. She's down closer to the field by just a couple feet, but nevertheless doing a good job of relaying us information through the window. So thanks again to Karina.
Thank you, Karina. We'll be covering some of her games in the near future.
Indeed.
Karina on the softball team here at Sterling.
Looking forward to get back to some baseball coverage next week.
Man, I am too. I've been looking forward to broadcasting some baseball at Bryan for a while now, and we don't have a lot of time to do it left, but I am excited to get the games that we can in.
Yeah,
I will be messing up all your calls like I'm Crook, though. I will be, oh, my God, that's going out. And every single time. You will not have one good call, and it will be because of me.
Well, the great thing is you mentioned the little amount of time, but yet our schedule is so jam-packed that you will probably have multiple times and opportunities to get a game in, whether at home or on the road.
Jake,
next week, we have 5 games in 6 days.
Rumor has it you guys have 5 games next week. That's ridiculous. Or how many are home?
I believe at least 2. I know at least 2 are home.
Brian, we will probably be doing those games.
indeed.
Yay!
But, I mean, the one time we did do a game, you were in Italy.
I was having a grand old time in Italy, and then I tried to do one of the other games, and I got the thumbs down from the big man Tad. So, bit unfortunate, but I'm glad we can get back out there.
Yeah,
Jeremy Clark delivers a shot to Matt Tuttle. And don't be fooled, the freshman showing off the guns there.
Oh, my gosh.
Lacrosse, a very physical sport. It's definitely something that I could not do.
I did it for like a game and a half, and then I got hit in the head and never played, or haven't played since.
So that explains it.
Yeah. But I've been wrapped up in my jazz band and other adventures, so I was a little unable to play anyway.
And now you're here providing us great insight.
This is what I want to do. I have a lot of fun, and the best part is I can have fun with my buddies. We can do these games together, which is always a joy.
While we were chit-chatting away, John Goebel is headed to the penalty box for Sterling. Looks like we've got a timeout on the field. So the Knights will bring it in to talk with Coach Wiley. Tartan's a little slow to get off the field. But the Knights should win this one pretty handily with 2:33 remaining on the clock in the fourth quarter. They're up 14-1. They've scored 14 unanswered goals. Evan Keefe, the lone goal for the Tartans. And Sterling with
14
unanswered. Spiritoso with half of them has 7. Carson Wiley with 5. And then 1 apiece for Bub Hall and Max Bleem. A lot of different options to go to. And, Dan, as you mentioned, it's not just the Jake Spiritoso show. Carson Wiley with a good showing here today.
And it's really important for the Knights that they have that second option because, I mean, throughout the years, Jake Spiritoso got so much traction about how good he is, and all the coaches did film on him about how good he is. And now that you bring Jeremy Clark, you bring Carson Wiley, of course, and you're bringing Bub Hall, who's having a great season, and Max Bleem is having a great season, Dom Gordon's having a great season, and you bring all of them into the occasion, you can't just cover Jake Spiritoso anymore. There's a lot of other people that you got to worry about, and, I mean, the Knights made their sweet escape with this one as they're going to probably parade out of here with a handed win, 14-1.
So the timeout is broken up. Looks like Highland will have an offensive opportunity. Sterling a man down. John Goebel in the box.
Sixers with an important game tonight, right?
Believe so.
Yeah,
The
they're
Sixers have a chance to clinch.
They're winning 45-33 right now. Maxey has 11 and Embiid has 13 off the bench.
And with a couple more wins, the Sixers have a chance to clinch the 6th seed in the East. Would be big to avoid the play-in this year.
Let's be completely honest. The Sixers are not a 6th seed. They are definitely more than a 6th seed, if you're asking me. I think that they're talented.
For sure.
I think their team this year is better than their team last year.
Well,
Fully healthy.
Fully healthy, correct. Yeah.
That's the big key.
And I think that's the blessing in disguise is Embiid got hurt, and now we'll have him fully healthy for the playoffs, which is a rarity. And I think that this year, if the pieces play like they have in the regular season and we get a couple more guys to step up and play at the level that we know that they can, I think the Sixers
Tobias Harris
could be very, very dangerous this year. Yeah, Tobias Harris is one of the guys that really has to step up.
Man, he stinks.
I think that if Kelly Oubre keeps performing at the level he's performing at, the Sixers could be in really good shape. The Ben and Maxey show, the Joe and Maxey show has been great. I remember the Sixers' old promo used to be the Ben and Joe show when Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid were all-stars. That didn't pan out the way people wanted it to.
And even like some of the other role players
That guy's not a role player. Carson Wiley, his 6th goal of tonight's contest, extending the lead, now 15 unanswered.
Yeah, no role player there for Carson Wiley, making a name for himself in this program.
I mean, if you want to do some comparisons with Embiid and Maxey, I
Yeah.
think Spiritoso
And Carson Wiley,
they would be a great
comparison.
comparison.
And I think
really
that's
good job.
I think that's a really good comparison
Yeah.
across the two sports because when you look at it, they have two very different play styles. I think that Carson Wiley has a bit more speed and agility and is able to work around defenders better. And I think that when you watch Jake Spiritoso play, he plays very back down the defender, spin in, and get a good shot off from there. And you see a lot of screens between the two of them. Wiley will set a screen there for Spiritoso. Spiritoso will set a screen for Wiley. So in this game, we've seen it, and definitely they've been the 1-2 punch that Sterling has really needed to separate themselves from Highland here today.
Jake, I think one of your best analysis ever was comparing Carson Wiley and Jake Spiritoso to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. That was really good. Only 13 seconds left on this winding clock, and Sterling can make their sweet escape.
So the clock is still running. Scooped up by Hoffman, and that'll do it. 15 unanswered goals for the Knights. It was the Spiritoso and Wiley show here today, but little contributions from Bub Hall and Max Bleem in the offensive end. Great job and great showing from the Sterling defense and Josh Hoffman. A complete team effort in this one as they handily beat the Highland Tartans 15-1.
And I think Coach Wiley will be pleasant with this performance. I mean, all around, amazing performance from every single person that touched the field. Josh Hoffman was incredible in net, and that defense really gave him some cushion. And then on the offensive side of the ball, it was the Joe and Maxey show or the Jake Spiritoso and Carson Wiley show. And they really ran the score up on the Highland Tartans.
Yeah, I mean, just a completely dominant win and a completely dominant way to start the season. 3-0, 15-plus goals in your first 3 games, outscoring opponents 49-9. I mean, you can't really ask for a much better start than that. You really just got to keep your foot on the gas as the season progresses. But with watching these two teams, with watching Sterling play, I mean, how can you not love this team right now? Just very well-rounded. Jake Spiritoso, Carson Wiley, both really showing out today, as we said, kind of like the Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid of this game and so far of this season. But just true dominance here by the Knights today in a 15-1 clobbering here tonight.
So Sterling moves on with the 15-1 win. They're 3-0 now on the season. Highland struggled offensively today. Lone goal came from Evan Keefe. But to highlight some of their players, Gavin Grenice did a solid job in net today. The freshman had a couple nice saves and a good stretch where he was really dialed in. Matt Tuttle probably won over 75% of his faceoffs. So there were still some bright spots and a tough loss for Highland here today.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Matt Tuttle in the face-off circle was really fun to watch. But he had some, the two freshmen, it was Rene Camacho and Jeremy Clark had their business cut out for them. And I think Matt Tuttle was the ultimate victor today, but not the victor of the game, where the Knights did their business under some Friday night lights and brought home the W.
So that'll do it for us here. We'll have a post-game show to follow where we get a couple of our highlight players from Sterling. 15-1, the Knights win it here. They move on to 3-0 on the young season. I'm Jake Clark, joined by Brian McClernand and Dan Leake, and we'll have post-game right after this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sterling Channel 19, a 15-1 win for the Sterling Knights, and I'm going to send it down to Jake Clark for the post-game show.
Thank you, Brian. Joined here by Jake Spiritoso, who had 7 goals in the win for the Knights here tonight on the turf. Jake, 7 goals in a dominant performance. What was working right for you here today?
Honestly, our two-man game with me and Carson was just flowing right out the bat. I mean, me and him are such a dynamic duo ever since the start of the season. And, him getting the attention and really opens me up to score, so it really helps.
And then you mentioned Carson really opening you up. We mentioned that on the broadcast, how you had a really big target on your back, but now there's a couple options on this team. Talk about how dangerous that can make you guys later in the season.
Oh, absolutely. We picked up a lot of hockey guys like John Goebel and, Jeremy Clark coming up. It's huge, and it opens up our offense so much more, and we're, very dynamic this year. It's not only like a one-man show, so to speak. It's really there's a lot of people scoring, and it's just so hard to guard.
Yeah, it wasn't a one-man show, but you were the leading scorer out of everybody with 7 goals tonight. Also talk a little bit about how the defense just held. You guys scored 15 straight, held Highland to only 1 goal. What was the defense able to do for you guys tonight?
Our defense stepped up so much. They played physical. They were on their hands all night, and they didn't allow many shots on Josh, and Josh played phenomenal. I can't thank him enough for stepping up to be goalie. And, our defense played great. Andrew Peak was all over everybody. Ensar, Ben. It was just a great game defensively.
Thanks for coming on with us, Jake. Great game tonight.
Thank you, Jake.
So now we're either going to be joined by Carson Wiley or Josh Hoffman. Looks like it'll be Carson Wiley, the freshman who scored 6 goals in tonight's contest. Carson, great game tonight. 6 goals in tonight's contest. You and Jake really had a 1-2 punch going. What was working right for you guys?
Working right, just playing through the two. Pick and rolls, pick and sweeps was working all night. They weren't really amazing at switching, so we just found the pattern and looked for the teammates and found the shot.
Yeah, and you talk about being a freshman, are you taking a little bit of notes or pointers from Jake at practice or even sometimes out there on the field?
Oh, all the time. Looking up to him like he's my coach. Just always looking at him and everything he does, he teaches me on the way. He's just a great mentor.
And then for you, you're a freshman coming out, putting up big numbers early in the season. What does that mean for you to start off on the right foot for your high school career?
Makes me build up confidence for future years and for the rest of the season. Give me the confidence to take people one-on-one and find my teammates and get wins.
And then last question for you, Carson. Your dad's the head coach. What is it like playing with him out on the field and then having to go home with him at the end of the day?
It's good if it's a good day for me, but if it's a bad day, it's not the best. But I love him no matter how hard he treats me.
Thanks for coming on with us, Carson. Great game today.
Yeah, Josh.
Josh Hoffman going to be coming on with us. Only allowed 1 goal in tonight's contest against Highland. Josh, thanks for coming on with us. Only allowed 1 goal in tonight's contest. What was working right for you and the defensive unit?
Defense was playing well. They were playing up to their position. They were challenging shots, and I was just tracking the ball. That's all it is just tracking the ball, making sure I'm in the right position for the shot,
And then there were a couple times where it seemed like Highland had numbers to go on an offensive run. You made some great saves. What's your mentality when somebody has a little bit of a breakaway?
Just our fast breaks. Our fast breaks really, just keep my eye on the ball, getting ready for where that ball's going to go, stopping it.
You guys are now 3-0 on the young season. What's the message or mantra moving forward to try and stay undefeated?
Just got to keep playing the way we're playing well. fix some things on offense, fix some things on defense. Just got to keep playing the way we're playing.
Thanks for coming on with us, Josh. Great
No
game
problem.
today.
Thank you very much. All right.
Going to send it back to Brian and Dan in the booth, guys.
Well, that's it, brother. And that's going to do it today for the broadcast. I want to thank everyone who came on for the girls and the boys game, which is Big Ben Strauss for the girls game, and then Brian and my dear friend Jake Clark for the boys game. I had a great time today. I hope you guys enjoy this stream. I'm Daniel Leakin saying so long, and more spring streams to come. And as always,
Go Knights.